OMG, you guys, democracy is dying. Nationalism is surging in the United States and Europe, and have you heard about Turkey's Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Hungary's Viktor Orban? They're the worst. And China has gotten rich without getting democratic. It's all over. What can the freedom-loving US government do to fix this horrible situation? Well, it probably won't surprise you to hear that what I would like the US government to do is less. We've been hearing that story that I just presented more and more. It's everywhere. The problem with it is that it's simply not true. Like, at all. Democracy is doing just fine. What we're dealing with here is a sort of myopia. We're only looking at the stuff that's close to the United States and ignoring everything else. Our traditional allies in Europe have had a really rough decade, but we're not looking at the reason why. The reason why is U.S. policy. Let's take apart that standard story to get a sense of what I'm talking about. China is a very special case, and I did a video covering it recently that you can check out at this link or in the description. The answer for most of the rest of this stuff is U.S. policy. Erdogan of Turkey always had some troubling instincts, but between 2013 and today, things have gotten a lot worse. What was it that gave him a free hand? The U.S.-manufactured war in Syria, of course. I have a video on that as well. With the corrupt and authoritarian curious Viktor Orban of Hungary, the story is the same. He got back into power in 2010 due to the U.S.-manufactured financial crisis. His party won another election in 2014, but it was clear that their grip on power was beginning to slip. So what saved Viktor Orban? The refugee crisis created by the U.S. war in Syria. Oh, and if you think those refugees are more Assad's fault than they are the fault of the U.S. government, I suggest you check out this video. This Orban story is repeated on a smaller scale with all of Europe's nationalists. Europe has been souring on U.S. leadership with good reason. U.S. leadership has really sucked since 2001, and I think to a smaller degree the massive 17-year failure of U.S. policy in the Middle East had a lot to do with Trump's election in 2016 as well. I don't like any of these candidates, but there's nothing about democracy that guarantees that people you like will win. If Washington, D.C. wants other countries to elect people that are more friendly, then Washington, D.C. should really stop doing stupid things. All these folks are gross, but it's U.S. government policy that has a lot to do with why they keep doing so well in elections. And in the parts of the world that the U.S. hasn't been actively screwing up, democracy has been doing really, really well. In February of this year, Jacob Zuma, the president of South Africa, was kicked out for corruption after 9 years in power. In November of 2017, the Zimbabwean dictator Robert Mugabe was kicked out after 37 years in power. There are plenty of other examples from recent years I could go into, from Sri Lanka to Bulgaria, but we saw two great examples just this past month. In Armenia, a president who had governed for 10 years tried to install himself as prime minister. Protests forced him out, and then protests forced the parliament to install a protest leader as prime minister. In Malaysia, the fantastically corrupt ruling party was voted out of office for the first time in over half a century. This is the first peaceful transfer of power since independence. The country now has an extraordinary opportunity to reshape itself. Now, I'm not saying that any of these countries are in great shape. Far from it. Decades of misrule, ongoing corruption, and unrealistic expectations on the part of a lot of these countries' peoples are setting them up for disappointment. But that's what democracy is. It's messy, and it's often disappointing. It can be incredibly frustrating, but it's the best system we've come up with so far. I think it is an amazing thing that more and more people all over the world are getting the opportunity to experience this disappointment. Democracy is doing just fine. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And if you'd like to help me keep making videos like this one, you can click on the Patreon link here to find out more about my crowdfunding thing, or you can take a look in the description where I've got a PayPal link. I will take any donations. Thank you so much.